The 11th night, 2:47 a.m., a radar echo flickered onto the screen where no traffic should run.
There's no freighter scheduled for this lane tonight. What the hell is that?
The blip reversed course with an unnatural pivot, then started drifting closer to the rocks.
Unidentified vessel. You are on a collision course with Cape Disappointment. Respond immediately.
Silence answered. At 2:51, he looked out. The same vessel appeared again, closer to the shore.
It's identical. Same rust pattern, same broken bow rail. It's repeating. Coast Guard. This is Light Station Cape Disappointment. I have an unidentified vessel closing in. No radio response.
Sir, there are no vessels out there. There haven't been any on that lane for 60 years.
Rule 2. Never log a ship that doesn't hail back. God, I just wrote it in the book.
11 days earlier, he had stepped onto this rock with nothing but a stained index card and 6 impossible rules. The supply boat ground against the dock under a flat gray sky. Robert stepped onto the wet basalt, duffel over his shoulder.
You must be William. I am Robert. The agency sent me for the 30-day rotation.
Here. 6 rules. Don't break them. Don't ask why, just follow them. And don't answer the south window.
William climbed onto the boat without another word. He never looked back, and the fog swallowed him. The card read, Rule 1, never answer the south window after midnight. Rule 2, never log an unresponsive ship.
Never answer a window. This has to be some initiation joke for the new guy.
Rule 3, never extinguish the lamp. Rule 4, don't reply to familiar voices.
Keep the lamp lit all day. That'll burn through oil. And what voice? I am alone out here.
Rule 5, don't search for past keepers. Rule 6, stay until your relief arrives, no matter what. He turned the card over. The other side was blank, but the paper felt cold, like it had been left in the sea. He let the lamp burn through his first afternoon, the beam carving a slow arc over empty water. He told himself he was just being thorough.
These rules are ridiculous, but I'll play along. 30 days is a long time alone. No need to make enemies of ghosts.
Night fell like a stone. He climbed into the bunk, and the only sound was the wind pushing against the glass.
At midnight exactly, 3 soft taps came from the south window. He froze.
The taps repeated, slower. Not a bird, not a branch, deliberate. Something wanted his attention.
Rule 1, don't answer. But what if it's someone stranded? What if it's William?
His hand twitched toward his coat, but he pulled it back under the blanket. Rule 1, the tapping continued until 3 in the morning, then stopped as abruptly as it started.
He didn't sleep. He just stared at the ceiling, listening to his own heartbeat, waiting for it to start again.
At dawn, he checked the south window. No handprints, no scratches. The glass was dry, but the air held a chill he couldn't explain. By afternoon, the fog had burned off. Leaving the sea glass flat under a pale sun, Robert reasoned he could save oil and clean the lamp's soot if he snuffed it for an hour.
Rule 3 is just theater. Lighthouses have been extinguished for maintenance for centuries. Nothing bad ever comes of a few hours of darkness.
He spent the next hours polishing brass and checking inventory, the extinguished lamp a satisfying victory against irrational rules. As the sun sank below the horizon, the lamp spontaneously burst back into a brilliant flame, louder and brighter than before.
What the hell? That's impossible. I saw the oil level. There was barely enough left for a wick burn, much less this.
He grabbed the snuffer and pressed it down over the flame, but the fire resisted, burning through the brass like it wasn't even there.
Out, damn it. This isn't right. The wick should be ash, the reservoir cold.
The lamp burned on, the beam slicing through the evening fog as if mocking his effort. The room grew colder, and the smell of salt hung thick.
He realized then, the rule wasn't about conserving oil. It was about the flame refusing to die. Something else was feeding it.
He didn't go to sleep that night. He sat by the lamp, watching the flame dance without consuming fuel, and whispered the 6 rules to himself like a prayer. 5 days blurred into routine. Robert obeyed the rules like a soldier. Oil the lamp, avoid the south window.
This silence isn't restful. It's the hush of something waiting to break loose.
On the 6th night, a foghorn sounded. He checked radar. Empty. Another blast. Closer.
The horn came from open water. No lane, no route, just the sound moving toward shore.
Every night after, the horns called. 2 notes, then 4, from the dead expanse where no ship could be.
Eyes on his back, a weight between his shoulders that grew heavier each evening.
He checked the lamp's fuel hourly, though the level never changed, and murmured the rules like a ward.
Sundown brought the dread. As light failed, he listened for the first horn, bracing for what followed.
But he survived. As long as he followed every rule, the tapping stayed dormant. Yet the rules felt like a leash, not a shield. Something out there was testing the fence. On the 11th night at exactly 2:47, the radar pinged with a solid return, a freighter moving south through the forbidden lane.
That's the same blip from my first night. Is it repeating?
He raised binoculars. Through the fog, a dark hull with a broken bow rail slid past the beam.
Unknown vessel. This is Cape Disappointment. Identify yourself.
Static. Then the 3-tone hail for help, SOS, but the transmission cut like a severed throat.
Rule 2 says never log an unresponsive ship. But this is my duty. I have to record it.
He opened the logbook. His pen hovered. Then, with a forced breath, he wrote 2:47 a.m., unidentified freighter sighted southbound. No radio contact.
I just broke the rule. But what could happen? The Coast Guard will verify.
He closed the book. The lamp burned steady. Outside, the fog swallowed the sea. 4 minutes later, the radar blipped again. Same vessel, same heading, same speed, but closer, much closer. At 2:51, the ship returned. Closer now. He could see the rust bleeding down its hull like old wounds.
Same broken bow rail. Same peeling paint. This isn't a different vessel. It's the exact same one, resetting.
Through binoculars, he traced the decay. Barnacles thick as armor, portholes black and empty. No crew, no light. The radar went blank at 2:54. Then, at 2:55, a new return. The same ship, even closer. Its bow aimed at the rocks.
It's not a ghost ship. It's an approach. Every 4 minutes, it resets and moves nearer.
Now he could see the nameplate, but the letters were corroded into illegible scars. The bridge windows reflected only fog.
This is an active threat. I need the Coast Guard. Maybe they can identify it or at least confirm I am not insane.
He fumbled for the radio handset, his fingers cold and clumsy. The lamp flared as if in warning. Outside, the ship's foghorn sounded not a warning, but a question. 2 long blasts, then silence. He keyed the mic, his voice dry. The radio crackled, and he began to speak. His voice cut through the static, reporting the freighter, its position, its impossible looping course.
I am watching it reset every 4 minutes. It's already closer than any vessel should be. Over.
Sir, I've checked radar and records. There are no vessels in that lane, and there haven't been any for 60 years. You might be seeing a weather anomaly or a reflection off the fog. It happens.
It's not a reflection. I have a radar return, a visual ID, and an SOS signal. This is a real ship.
We'll note it in the log, but there's nothing we can send. Keep us posted if it changes.
Robert clicked off the mic and set the handset down with a hand that trembled.
That lane has been closed for 60 years, and yet here it is. The rules aren't old sailor tales.
He pulled the stained index card from his pocket. The 6 rules now read like a last testament, not a prank. Outside, the foghorn sounded again, and this time it was undeniably closer. Robert's desperation turned physical. He tore through the keeper's quarters, lifting every loose board, until the crowbar caught on a hidden seam.
Rule 5 says, don't look for past keepers. But if I don't find answers, I am dead anyway.
The floorboard splintered open. Beneath, wrapped in oilcloth, lay a leather-bound logbook thick with age. Dust swirled as he pulled it free. The cover was cracked, the spine groaning as if it hadn't been moved in decades.
This is older than the official logs. Who hid this?
He opened it to the first page. The date, the 14th of March, 1962. The handwriting was tight, cursive, but legible. Still at station. Freighter sighted southbound, 2:47 a.m. No radio response. Logged as per instruction. He flipped pages. Years of entries repeated the same sighting. Keepers from the 70s, 80s, 90s, all recording the identical ship.
Every one of them saw it. And they all wrote it down, even though Rule 2 forbids it. Why?
The entries didn't stop. Each keeper's last log described the ship, but closer, and then nothing. He turned to the later pages. Beside the ship sightings, new words appeared. Tapping at the south window, 12:03 a.m. Did not answer. The 17th of November, 1974. Tapping again, louder. I will not answer. I will not. Every keeper eventually described voices. First a whisper, then a plea. Each one swore they'd resist.
That's what the tapping becomes. A voice. And if they answered, they disappeared.
The last line of every keeper's section was a variation of the same phrase. I answered. Then blank pages. He found the final entry, scrawled in William's shaky hand. I answered. God help me.
William didn't leave. He's gone. They're all gone. And the tapping is still out there.
He closed the book with a soft thud, as if louder noise might summon whatever had taken them.
Rule 1 is the only thing keeping me alive. That window stays sealed.
He returned the logbook to its hiding place, but its weight stayed with him long after the floorboard was closed. An hour before dawn, Robert could no longer ignore the logbook. He pulled it from the floor once more, the lamp guttering as if in warning. He turned to the back cover, pressing his thumb along the binding. A folded slip of paper fell, brittle, yellowed onto his lap. He unfolded it, the same 6 rules, but the handwriting stopped his breath. It was his own, every stroke a mirror of his hand, the slant of the E, the sharp loop in his R. It was as if he had written it himself just hours before. Coincidence, he told himself. Sleep deprivation and ghost stories. But his hands started to tremble anyway.
I know my own handwriting. I didn't write this. I couldn't have.
He laid the whiskey-stained index card beside the sheet. The list was identical, down to the smudged ink on Rule 5. Not similar handwriting. The same hand. His hand, only younger, tense with the weight of something unspeakable.
Number. I am not part of any cycle. I am just a temp keeper. This is a mistake.
He folded the sheet small and tucked it back into the logbook. But as he lowered the book into its dark hiding place, the truth stayed lodged in his chest like a splinter. He tore a long strip of duct tape and sealed the south window frame. More strips followed until the edges were airtight.
No sound, no way to answer. Rule 1 is the shield, and I am reinforcing it.
The lamp became his charge. He cleaned the lens twice daily, though the soot never returned. He avoided the south window entirely, keeping his back turned. his shadow never crossing the glass. Calendar went up. Each day he marked a red X, counting down to relief.
26 days left. 26 more nights of discipline. I can do this.
The ship appeared on radar each night, but he refused to look. The ritual was his armor. Each morning brought the same verification. Tape intact, lamp bright, new X on the calendar. A small victory.
If I survive to day 30, I'll never look at another lighthouse again.
But at night, when the wind died, he felt the pressure against the south window, a palm pressing gently, waiting. The next morning, he knelt by the south window, checking the tape. His knuckles brushed a deep groove on the wall. He scraped away the dust. Not a crack. Letters. Robert Reeves, 1962, carved into the old pine.
That's my name. My full name. Down to the last letter. Maybe another Robert Reeves. A grandfather I never knew. That has to be it.
But the loose sheet, the rules in his own hand, the logbook entries, now a carving from 60 years ago. He pressed his palm to the carving. The wood was cold, but his hand seemed to fit.
If I was here in 1962, then the ship, the rules, the window, it's all connected to me. How many times has this cycle repeated? Am I the same man, or just a copy?
He pulled his hand back as if the wood had burned him. The questions were too large for this small room. He turned away, but his own name followed him, echoing in the creak of the floors. That night, the tapping came again, but this time it spoke. A whisper, shaped like William's voice, slipped through the tape.
Robert, it's William. I'm cold. Please, just open the window.
William is dead. I read his last words. This isn't him.
You know me, Robert. I gave you the rules. Let me in, and I'll explain everything.
He stood drawn to the window. His fingers found the edge of the duct tape, ready to peel it back.
One look. Just to prove to myself it's not William. Then I'll seal it again. Rule 1. Never answer. Every keeper who did vanished.
He yanked his hand back so hard he stumbled, knocking over a chair. The voice outside screamed his name, then silence, heavy and complete. The tape held. He had not answered.
I almost broke. I almost became one of the blank pages. Need to be stronger.
The fog thinned just enough to reveal a shape on the rocks, a figure, upright, facing the sea.
That's William's coat. The same dark wax coat he wore when he handed me the rules.
He scrambled down the wet basalt steps, the lighthouse beam pulsing above, but the shape never moved. The coat was draped over a jagged rock, sleeves hanging limp. A pair of black rubber boots stood empty beneath. No footprints, no sign of struggle. Just the coat and boots as if William had stepped out of them mid-stride.
The window took him, not his body, just everything else.
He didn't touch them. He backed away, the image searing itself into his mind.
William's last words were, I answered. Now I see where he went.
He retreated into the lighthouse and added a third layer of tape to the south window. The rules were the only line. That afternoon, he marked the calendar with a thick X. 24 days left, each one a mountain. As he lifted his coffee cup, the index card caught his eye. He turned it over and for the first time noticed faint script. Rule 7. When your relief arrives, do not look back at the lantern.
A 7th rule, it wasn't there before, or the light never caught it until now.
He tilted the card. The ink was nearly invisible, as if written in water that had long since dried.
Even if I survive all this, the lantern still holds power over me. I can't look back.
He repeated the words, etching them into memory alongside the other 6.
William never mentioned a 7th rule. Did he miss it, or did he just choose not to tell me?
He tucked the card back into his pocket, now heavier than before.
24 days. I'll walk out of here without a single glance behind. That's the final rule.
But the lighthouse lamp seemed to pulse brighter for a moment, as if it had heard him. On the 29th night, the fog thickened until the lighthouse beam struck a wall of rust. The ship had stopped inches short of the rocks. No foghorn, only a voice, no longer mimicking William, but speaking with his own recorded tones, calling his name through the glass. Robert had sealed the lantern room hours before. He sat with his back to the door, eyes pressed shut, his hands covering his ears.
Rule 1, never answer. Rule 2, never log. Rule 3, never extinguish.
The window frame groaned. The tape stretched, pulled by a pressure that dimpled the glass inward. Still, he did not move.
Rule 4, don't reply. Rule 5, don't search. Rule 6, stay. Rule 7, don't look back.
He recited the list until the words lost meaning, a mantra against the abyss, until his throat burned. A pale seam of light cracked the horizon. The voice outside splintered into static, then nothing. Robert opened his eyes to an empty sea and a lamp burning as steadily as it had on his first night. Day 30 had arrived.
I followed every rule. I didn't answer. I am still here.
The horn cut through the morning quiet. A supply boat carved a white wake through the fog, a young woman in the bow.
She's real. The relief is real. I am getting off this rock.
Sarah stepped onto the dock, boots crunching on the wet wood. She slung her pack and looked up at the crooked lighthouse with bright, unaware eyes.
You are the new keeper? Name's Robert. Let's get you inside. There's a lot you need to know.
Sarah, the agency said you'd brief me. Something about unusual conditions?
Unusual doesn't begin to cover it. But I promised myself I'd only give her the rules and go. No stories.
The lighthouse stairs spiraled upward into shadow. He led her into the keep, and the door clicked shut behind them. His hand went to his pocket, feeling the stiff corner of the index card. He had not let go of it for 30 days.
6 rules. You follow them exactly, you survive. I'll give them to you now, and then I am leaving.
The lamp above them flickered, just for an instant, as if it were listening. Robert pulled the stained card from his pocket and pressed it into Sarah's hand.
Wait, the keeper before you, he gave me something too, said I had to pass it on.
She reached into her jacket and handed him a card, identical in size, the stains slightly different. The handwriting was unmistakably his own. You've been here before. Follow the rules. Don't look back. The world tilted. The same card he had just given her. He had written them, handed them, lived this moment hundreds of times.
I am not the new keeper. I am the one who leaves, and I've been leaving forever.
He saw himself younger, carving his name in the wood, inking the rules, handing the card to a man named William, who would become just another copy.
Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Not a ghost, a loop, and I am the one who built it.
He looked at the card in his hand, and then at the one he'd given her. One was the question, the other the answer. Memories broke over him in pieces, standing where Sarah stood, receiving a card from a man named William, carving his own name into the wall.
I remember writing the rules. I remember being the one who leaves. Every time I walk away, and the cycle resets. Whatever you do, never answer the south window after midnight. That's the one that took all the others. The rest help, but that one kills. Follow every rule, no matter how absurd. And when your relief comes, don't look back at the lantern. Just go.
He walked to the dock without another word, his duffel light on his shoulder. Sarah stood in the doorway, the card pressed to her chest.
Rule 7. Don't look back. If I look, I might see the lamp watching, and it won't let me go.
The engine coughed to life. The boat turned its bow toward the open sea. He kept his eyes fixed on the horizon. He didn't look back, not when the beam swept over the boat, Not when the fog swallowed the rocks. He just watched the water.
This is my role. I survive, I hand off, and then I wait until I am called back. I don't remember the between, but I know I'll be here again.
Behind him, the lighthouse stood silent, its lamp burning steadily, waiting for its next keeper. Sarah sat at the keeper's desk, the index card before her. The handwriting was not hers, but it felt like a warning.
6 rules. The way Robert spoke, it's life or death. I'll memorize them all.
She checked the lamp twice, then a third time. The fuel reservoir was full, the flame steady. The card said never extinguish it. Dusk fell like a curtain. The sea turned black, and the fog rose in sheets. She put the card in her pocket and faced the south window. At midnight, the tapping began. Not wind, not hail, a deliberate rhythm, 3 soft knocks.
Rule 1. Never answer. Robert's voice in my head. Don't answer.
Through the window, far out on the horizon, a single light appeared. It grew into a ship, a freighter, moving without sound.
No radio call, no foghorn. It's just there, and it's not stopping.
She backed away from the glass, pressing her hands over her ears. The tapping persisted, but she did not answer. The lamp burned on. The cycle had accepted its new keeper. Every lighthouse keeper on the Oregon coast knows the rules. They are passed from one to the next, written in the same hand. The card stained with coffee and seawater, the ink never fading, the warnings never changing. The freighter returns each cycle, a phantom drawn to the beam, carrying nothing but silence and the echo of an SOS. At the south window, a shadow waits, patient as the tide, tapping a rhythm only the new keepers hear. The lighthouse beam cuts through the sickly fog, a clock hand counting down to the next midnight. Inside, a new keeper reads the rules, memorizing them before the tapping begins. It always begins. The fuel never runs dry. The lamp has never been extinguished, not since 1962. And the keeper who leaves never looks back, because the lantern remembers and it holds the ties tight. The cycle will turn again. A new keeper will come. The words will be written. The window will tap, and the lamp will burn on.